Check 1, check 2. douglAR Politics, 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
This is douglAR Politics, yo. douglAR Politics. Listen, douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics. This is douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics. This is douglAR Politics. douglAR Politics. This is douglAR Politics, yo. douglAR Politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in Trinidad and Tobago, and a happy Labor Day to Trinidad and Tobago for tomorrow. And remember St. Joseph Aranguez North Secondary tomorrow night 6:30. The UNC rolls in. Come and support, come and see, come and listen. This is the most important thing on Father's Day. My little daughter took her time to draw and write up a card. These are the things that fathers love, that they really mean a lot, because being a father is life. Being a father is joy. Being a father is an everyday. People say sacrifice. I know sacrifice, because if you love doing it, that's what it is. So on this Father's Day, it is very shocking to see that a son of Njak, a person who was born from a father who was born and created the NJAC, the National Joint Action Committee, which was born because of the oppression of the PNM, because the PNM had been in charge from 1956 to 1970, where the Black Power revolt occurred, where black people had to stand up and fight against the PNM. You see, don't get confused when you look at US politics and CNN and so on. That was Anglo-Saxon people, white people, oppressing black people. In Trinidad and Tobago, black people have had power since 1956, and yet black people had to fight against the PNM Black Party for equal opportunities, jobs, social justice, and equity. And when a child is born out of that, and I'm speaking and I spoke to my children also in this lesson, you grow up with a philosophy, a passion, a commitment, born from ideals that are espoused by your father. And just because somebody passed with something that you need, your hungry belly, this is what you do. This picture speaks volumes. And let me tell you why. Because a lot of you out there say, Anil, always politicians, always play games, always go in the tea room, and always lying with them while we suffering. Let me tell you all something. I don't even see that scumbucket there. If my mother say that you must tell everybody good afternoon and so on, mommy, I'm sorry. I don't tell that man good afternoon, good morning, and it's only because he has special brands wrong him, I don't cuss him. So understand that this man who came from NJAC, power to black people, black history, black culture, PNM and Dr. Williams left black people as the slave trade left them, without black history, without religion, without culture, without teaching the greatness of Africa in the primary schools, without bringing communities. Dr. Williams left black people to only say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, vote for me and I'll make millionaires of other people. So when you see that a gentleman could be in a meeting at 8 a.m., paid a salary by the leader of the opposition, talking about policies of equity, justice, fairness, people-centered policies as opposed to recusals and selfishness. And then 2 o'clock, or after 2 o'clock, and I see it while I'm with my daughter watching her play tennis, come on my phone, this thing here. I am sorry. People like me despise this sort of spinelessness. Now if you're hungry and you need something and you think, all right, but to make a mockery of your entire teachings from your father, pull your father who taught you and join this man who has oppressed black people like none before, this man who speaks to black people, even those who are paying for an HDC house, $750,000 to 1.2 million, talks down to them about don't ghettoize the HDC development, don't want to see sneakers on the wires, when HDC don't even build house with wire again. This man who goes on the golf course and who crumbles like a little boy with soft features anytime there are white people around. It could be a big mampy, anything, but once it's white, that man crumbles for whatever weakness and rationale and reasoning is brought up. See, and you tell me that NJAC, decades of NJAC, education, intelligence, understanding the PNM and what they have done to black people in Trinidad and Tobago for decades, banning Kwame Ture from ever setting foot on his homeland. One of the greatest black leaders is Bastio Pandey to allow him, Stokely Carmichael, to come back and set foot. No education, no schools for the Baptists. You know all of this. And just so hungry belly, you go on with a red tie and sit down next to a man who the police looking for, the anti-corruption bureau, and when the man done mama guy you, and on your right side is one who take 500,000 and fail all she exam. And then you come to tell me that you left because of certain things like what David Nackett said. David Nackett said he don't like pedophile. You vex at that? I don't understand. David Nackett said pedophiles are disgusting. They disgust him. You vex at that? You like pedophile? I'm not understanding. And they make a puppy show of you, Mr. Strong Black Man, talking to your brother about black African, pan-African, and all of that. And as something passed by you, and you just jump. I talked to my son, who, God willing, his exam results come out shortly, will be a lawyer. And my big daughter, who's a personal trainer, fully qualified. And I said, listen, if anything your father ever teach you, stand firm, no matter how much pressure you're under. If you have to go and be a gardener, pick up garbage, start over from scratch, do that, because you have the mental fortitude and capacity so to do. Don't ever sell your soul for a few pieces of silver. And you know, if you want to sell your soul for a few pieces of silver, go quietly in peace. Don't bad talk those who took care of you, who treated you with respect. Don't do that. That's downright distasteful. So enjoy your PNM. Hug up Fitzgerald, Ethelbert, Sativa, Body Bag, Lagoon, Attacking, Racist, Pomsite, Nasty, Dotage. So hug him up if you wish. That's your choice. But don't dare attack those who helped you, took care of you and respected you. I was even told, easy, because certain people love you like a son and so on. But while that's all very well and good, not me, not the douglAR, because shame is shame. How could you sit down in a meeting with the United National Congress at 8 a.m. and at 2 p.m. put on this red nasty tie? It shows your low character. You're a scumbucket, because a real man, whenever that negotiation would have begun, it couldn't just happen like that, because you can't go from I believe in education and equity, Rowley believes in recusal, and Noel Garcia, and only a few elites getting everything, all the black benchers in the back. You couldn't go from one side to the next side in 2 hours. So it had to be a period of wooing, negotiation, and whatever silver was coming. But yet you had you had the temerity, the lack of character, the lack of brought-upsy, the lack of manner to sit down in a UNC meeting at the office of the leader of the opposition where you're drawing your pay, while you know you as a PNM. That's not very classy. That's not right. That's rather improper. But maybe you can explain to your little children what daddy did and how he did it. I would love to be a fly on the wall, because I sat my children down on this Father's Day, use you and your daddy as an example, and I spoke to them in a very serious manner. And I said, if all I have taught you in your life, my daughter who's 25, my son who's 24, and my little one who's 8, who make daddy go to church this morning, it was fun, nice, good preaching and so on. But only she could get daddy to kind of do them kind of thing. No big thing, that she is the boss. I even spoke to her. I said, when you stand for something, you believe in something, fight for it. If you believe, as she does, that she wants to take care of animals and so on and so forth, well, stand there. Don't join with someone who kills animals, who slaughters animals, who treats animals with disdain. So thank you, my brother. You allowed me to teach my children what not to be. So you are saying, and you are putting Happy Father's Day, you are saying that you as a father, you would like to be a teacher and impregnate a girl of school age. You're saying Happy Father's Day, you respect, that's what you're telling me, because that man did that. You're telling me that as a father and a husband, you want to reach 65 and have sex with a girl who come to try and get a job done in the constituency without a condom and make twins. That's what you are telling me, because you post your father and that man and telling me about Happy Father's Day. I want you to explain to me, because is that what you want? Because that is the truth. You are telling me that you as a man and a husband, that you respect a man on Father's Day, who sits in the cabinet, appoints Darrell Smith as a minister in his cabinet, and fornicates simultaneously with Darrell Smith's wife, walking downstairs past 3 dogs, a parrot, open the door on the red couch. That's what you are telling me as a leader, to tell my children Happy Father's Day. I want you to explain, my brother. You see, me and mine, if you're going there, hungry belly, need food, no big thing. Go there and eat your food. But don't come there and play no games with the population and play no lies. Happy Father's Day. This man who left Garta Lane alone for 44 years. When I teach Down in the vineyard and work hard and do all the grunt work. And when he becomes big and bright and win case, pro bono must be a high percentage. All of my children are taught that. You are telling me that on one day, what with hungry belly, you just, all of that fall off. All your philosophy, all the teachings of decades, just gone. And you come to tell the population, respect that disgusting scumbucket who treats people with no respect, the worst prime minister in history, the biggest liar. I want to hear you talk to your children as you put a picture of Rowley and tell them Happy Father's Day. How Rowley lied on human beings, went in a parliament and read an hour and 25 minutes of pure, unadulterated lies on other human beings. And Daddy is saying, be like Rowley. Really? Get that scumbucket off my screen. Shameless. And I have more, you know. But they tell me, what's so? Because people treated you like a son. Well, boy, today, Father's Day, in church, they nearly talk about the prodigal son. There's no prodigal, no? Stickman beaten in gold medal match. Archie, hockey. Stickman beaten in gold medal match. Didn't we show little tidbits throughout douglAR politics for the last 5 years of the disrespect of the sport company and the Minister of Sport and Douglas Camacho to the hockey players? And they miss a gold medal by your home fund penalties. You have a video there to remind them of what? Run it. Yes. This is it. Ripped moss, not a hockey ball roll on it. Nothing, by Douglas Camacho. And let me tell you something. When you go at this high level, stickman beaten, right? TNT's Jordan Vera Wright closes down the USA Tyler Sundin during the men's final at the inaugural Hockey Five-a-Side Pan American Cup tournament at the University of the West Indies. The USA won 3-2 on sudden death penalties after a 2-2 draw. A slim margin. Remember last week we showed you a video of the teams coming to practice and they lock out on the St. James Barracks that Gary Griffith had built and Erla lock up with the PNM key. Understand in this level, high level, elite competition, what it takes to get a medal. This one, you could look at it, right? You'd rather leave the audio, but look at it, they locked out. That's what PNM does. And when you come to elite level performance, little things matter. Do you know, in 2004 Olympics, George Bovell III got a bronze medal by 0.01 of a second. That's like, look at your fingernail. Look at your fingernail, the little white part at the tip. That's what he got the bronze medal by. He lost the silver medal by that. And the man who came fourth was 1/100 behind him. Do you know when I arrived in the Games Village, George and I, because swimming is at the beginning of the program, on August 3rd, 2004, the opening ceremony was August 11th. I went to the chef de mission then, Brian Lewis, who is now openly a PNM, went on screen, but Keith Scotland beat him. Brian Lewis was the chef de mission, and I said, Brian Lewis, I'm going to the pool later at 5 o'clock. We arrived at 11 a.m. I said, George going to take a nap, we'll eat and so on. He go down to the pool. I don't want to take him in his 2003 old beat up gear. I want him to look good, feel good. I wanted him in this Trinidad and Tobago gear to go to the pool because he had to feel good. The team is small. It's only me and him and the manager and one other athlete. USA have 60 athletes, 10 massage therapists, 6 doctor, physiotherapists, 8 coach, 2 assistant coach, chef, all kind of thing they have. USA have different type of clothes every day, from jeans to parka to tracksuit to run suit, sweatsuit, rain suit, fancy suit, different things. You know what this now PNM tell me? Anil, the athletes will be arriving on the 8th, so he will get his gear there at that time. I said, George, go upstairs and put on your laptop and so on. I said, chef, come for a moment now. And I will not tell a lie. I use some French. And I said, boss man, the athlete has arrived. I want his stuff to look good, his Olympic gear to go down in that pool with some French. Within 35 minutes, 3 van loads came. And all the doctor and the little technical people for the, what do you call that boy? Anyway, physiotherapist and thing. They jump in the vans, drive for 40 minutes, come to Adidas Country Club with only Adidas. All of them rushing to fill out the bag. I said, George, wait. When they finished the bag, I said, George, go and see what you'd like. And he took his stuff, of which this was one that he collected a medal in. And he collected that medal by a little oomph. 1/100th of a second. If we didn't go feeling good, feeling proud, feeling Trinidad and Tobago, it is quite possible that he would have finished 4th and not 3rd. That's how important little things are at this high level. And you have the PNM and Shamfa Kujo, and that man whose favorite sport is hockey, Douglas Camacho, and hockey is treated like a dog sport. All the other sports too, but no turf, lockout, put down a turf, waste 3.5 million, nothing going on, no matches, under-prepared, and yet they're still battling for Trinidad and Tobago. That's what our athletes do. And that's how important politics is. You must vote out these clowns who just like to travel, grow afro and pretend like they are in something. And vote in people who care about the athletes. Look, Commonwealth Youth Games coming. They're fixing up 80 million here. They're fixing the aquatic center now. All the time the children pitching katutu and the children need more water. The toilets, the urinals not working. But they're hosting a competition. They start to spend money with Noel Garcia. But you know, athlete preparation is nil. So we're going to have fancy outlets, and our athletes will be there left to the slaughter because they don't care to prepare the athletes to perform well so we can hear our anthem. Move them. Turtle-friendly LED lights installed. Hadco Group, EMA and NGO partner. Hadco, you see Haddad, this is excellent. This is the kind of thing, you make money, you're a good corporate businessman, good profit margins, well done, my brother. And then this, following the recent commemoration of the UN World Environment Day, the Hadco Group partnered with the Environmental Management EMA and the Grand River Nature Tour Guides Association to replace street lights in the vicinity of Hosang Street in Grand River with NXT light LED turtle-friendly bulb. No sarcasm, excellent. That's my point. Come out the people football because you suck. Goodbye. Beckles TMT has impressive levels of creativity and innovation. Let's see this Beckles, this PNM Beckles. That's there. Looks different. Planning Minister Penelope Beckles says Trinidad and Tobago citizens have impressive levels of creativity and innovativeness. Because of this, she said, prompting investment in innovations that add value, firms can potentially earn higher revenues. Beckles told entrepreneurs they can all be the catalyst to achieve a new level of innovation and that their work can make it internationally. Yes, and none of them in the PNM, because the PNM has a dearth of creativity, a dearth of intelligence, a dearth of passion, a dearth of implementation, a dearth of planning. You have just stated a reason for every citizen in this country to vote out that dirty jersey you have on there. At least that picture you have on your PNM logo. You didn't wear the thief logo on. Imbot. Look at long-term perspective of the HSF. He talk about HSF. He say in 2019, 400 million. 2020, COVID, 600 million. So what happened in 2023? And why you didn't rush out and tell we, Imbot? Because you're always quick to tell we when thinking. You know what's the PNM boss? In September 2015, the Heritage and Stabilization Fund was like this. And in 2022, December 31st, the Heritage and Stabilization was like this. In other words, 8 years of PNM equal Kamla. So Kamala left it here. 8 years of PNM, them can't do nothing. Them happy to have left it remaining as Kamala. When the average increase of the HSF under Kamala was 1.2 billion US per year. Crude rises to US 69.42, and this man budget at 92.50, you know. $23 US per barrel less than what he budgeted is how your budget is being run by this Duncy head, you know. And per MMBTU, 234, he budget at 6 US. How is your country running? What shenanigans are they doing to fudge the numbers? But IMF team in Trinidad and Tobago giving help. IMF team giving help. Ladies and gentlemen, a few years, approximately 3 years ago, I told you that the PNM, this man Imbot, and the PNM are implementing austerity measures and principles of the IMF, cutting you out of the, recusing you from the taxpayer dollars, cutting you, weaning you off taxpayers' dollars to make it only the expenditure for recusals and the financiers. That the reason that they did not sign or take money from the IMF is that they didn't need it. Why did they not need it? Because Kamala left 5.7 billion in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. She left 12.25 billion US in reserves. She left 14 months import cover in savings. She left the debt to GDP ratio at 59% with AAA plus rating so they could borrow money. So these clowns had access to funding and to funds, but they implemented the Actually, I didn't tell them that. Look, they now admitting IMF, he missed question in the Senate, urgent question that Wade Mark asked him because he had to meet with IMF. But the UNC was telling you this about 3 years ago, Archie. Don't tell me a lie, you know, run it. The IMF prescriptions, for example, because don't just think that I will come here and just make up things. There's something called prior action. So let's go to pre-COVID. What did this government do from 2015 to 2020? They cut expenditure in everything. I just told you, sport cut, laptop cut, education cut, food card cut, special grants cut, everything down to school feeding, food for children cut. They removed price controls. It began, we remember our Minister of Finance said, hey, I moved the subsidy once, I move it twice, I move it 3 times, and they ain't riot yet. I go move it again, and what, it was totally honest because it all gone now. Then what is the other prescription? You have to increase revenue. So they increase taxes. We get tax on online tax. We get increased taxes across the board. They put back VAT on food. And this is another prescription after COVID now. During COVID, because we're not after it yet, we're in the midst of it. They want to increase revenue further. So yes, you have to come with the revenue authority. So Baigan farmer, all kind of farmer, plantain farmer, potato, cassava, doublesmen, we have to look out. Then they need to reduce expenditure under the IMF prescriptions. What do? Mass retrenchment. Now you freeze the public service. People have lost jobs across the board. We have no data. The next step of IMF says is privatization. Do I need to tell you? Everything selling out one by one. Now is the port. We have other things coming. And then the last prescription in the IMF is to say stop forex leakages. So all of these prescriptions, 100% of the policies implemented, the structural adjustment, the taxation, the cuts in expenditure, and everything enunciated in this budget smells IMF, but it's spelled PNM. I was just reading a little fairy tale online for my daughter, 6-year-old Anaya, and it was about fairy tales and fantasy about a dwen. And the fairy tale said, if it look like a dwen, smell like a dwen, dance like a dwen, smile and grin like a dwen, is a dwen.
So to use that analogy with this budget, if it look like IMF, feel like IMF, read like IMF, and bring pain to the people like the IMF, then it is IMF.
Colm Imbot Express, Thursday. The International Monetary Fund is here. Finance Minister Colm Imbot, in apologizing for not being available in the Senate at the Red House, Port of Spain, earlier yesterday to answer a question on the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, said, I have a team here from the Fiscal Affairs Division of the IMF providing very important technical assistance to suffer you. You must get rid of this. To get rid of the IMF, get rid of the PNM. The Minister of Man says THA blocking water supply project 3 months after the Water and Sewerage Authority saw turning ceremony for the construction of a 7.6 kilometer pipeline from Signal Hill to Store Bay Local Road. Public Utilities Minister, the Minister of Man, who know which man driving what van and who should be driving it, and vex when the wrong man driving it and want to go and persecute the man. Where that passion for man come from? Me ain't know. I wonder if he have a red couch for man by the Ministry of Public Utilities. But anyway, Signal Hill to Store Bay Local Road. Utilities Minister says the Tobago House of Assembly has taken action to stop the project. Speaking to Newsday on Saturday, Public Utilities Minister said, 3 weeks ago I commissioned a major pipeline and THA stop it. Everybody's stopping you. You are the worst Minister of Public Utilities in history of Trinidad and Tobago, and blame everybody else. Gonzalez, the same minister man, sabotage at the new Paramin water supply station. So ladies and gentlemen, it's not that he's incompetent. It's not that Kamala and Ganga Singh at the United National Congress had 74% of the population getting a 24/7 supply of water, and he has single-handedly taken it down to 12%. It's not that. It's not that he's incompetent. It's not that his programs and his policies are useless. It's not that 4.2 billion gallons of water per month have been wasting since 2017. It's not that, it's you, the people. Sabotage. So it's not his stupidity. It's not his incompetence. It's not that he knows nothing about WASA. It's not that he have only time to study man. It is your fault. Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez disclosed on Saturday morning that not one, but 2 sinister attempts had been made to sabotage the newly commissioned Paramin water supply intake. As the community eagerly awaited the launch of the much-needed water supply, Gonzalez said it became evident that something was amiss when the pumps were found burnt out. Yes, boy, it's not that you incompetent, dotish, useless, lazy, and studying man. It's people, all right? That's why nobody has water in the whole country. Installation of new WASA management team delayed. There is a delay in installing a new management team at the Water and Sewerage Authority. WASA had projected to appoint a new executive management team comprising 9 managers by April 30th, 2023. But more than 2 months has passed after the targeted date. WASA Chairman Ravindra Nanga told Guardian that its recruitment process has been delayed. Who thief the people? Somebody. They sabotage that too. All right, Minister man. Mufi. And when you realize that you have no water in your tap, tomorrow night, yes, it's a holiday, come out to St. Joseph, Aranguez North Secondary School, to get rid of people like that Minister of Man, Rowley, and the people who do not care, like Convent Girl. Come out. It's a Monday night report. Everybody is invited. Do not sit there. Right now, they probably have 500 people on Facebook and 1.3 thousand on YouTube watching douglAR Politics now. You must get involved. A political meeting is a very important thing. One, you hear policies, programs for local government and what has gone before and what is to come, so that you can understand and you can vote for what is important to you. You also get a sense and feel of the camaraderie after the meeting, before the meeting, talking with other people, potential candidates, people who are there, councillors, executive chairman. You get a chance to interact, listen to information, ask questions, get involved. So a political meeting is there for a very important purpose. We have to get away from the politics of just giving your vote to whoever you're accustomed giving it to. You have to go and listen, hear, see what's important to you, feel the power and the strength, feel the pulse of the people, and understand that the strength of the UNC is in people. And in Trinidad and Tobago, when you get that feeling of community, you will go out strongly and vote for the United National Congress. So all are invited. Tomorrow, Monday evening, arrive before 6:30. Program starts at 7 p.m. on the dot at the Aranguez North Secondary School. Come out. I will be there. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Rudal Munilal. We also have Prakash Bharat. We have Saddam Hussein, David Nakid, Councillor Amit Suknanan, Seema Augustine, Jalen Rupnarayan. Come out, and all UNC family and all those who want to join, all those who are interested in removing the heartless, discriminatory, dictatorial, tyrannical PNM. Come out. You're all welcome. David Lee will be there too, and a crew from Pointe-à-Pierre. Lee shut down Nikwan plant. Massey Energy employee suffers burns in incident. Calls have been made by an opposition MP, David Lee, for Nikwan Energy Gas to Liquids GTL plant to be shut down and investigation in its operations be done. After a worker was left nursing serious burns. The injured worker is an employee of Massey Energy Engineered Solutions who was assigned to Nikwan Energy Trinidad. Right? He sustained burns in an incident at the plant on Thursday. But this is another incident. How many incidents? Remind us, Archie. Archie, Nikwan.
Current situation. GTL Nikwan. That is it. Watch that one. Where they get out here, buddy? We outside. A little dangerous today, but you know God is good.
And considering the fire was on the plan a couple of weeks ago, heads rolling, night shift. Yeah, so people free to talk out. He was upset when he highlighted that. Heads roll. The fire watch lost his job, the safety man lost his job, a welder lost his job. Yeah, heads roll.
Is this Nikwan? Nikwan, please tell me. I want to know. And now another incident, but it's PNM to PNM to PNM, investigate PNM and open for PNM and give loan by PNM, and for permanent secretary who was supposed to be independent join Nikwan board as PNM, Allison due diligence. And you're seeing that is Massey. Where's Harvard man who does watch your left eye, cookie eye, and watch your soul? Mr. Gervais Warner, what say you about Nikwan? And Gil is your friend and partner. So friend to friend for PNM, for Small Pain, for Rowley, and people lives are at risk. The whole community was at risk with explosion and so on. Now workers being burnt. When will enough be enough for the PNM? Some students missed exams due to floods, and the minister in the Ministry of Education, Lisa Morris Greenverb Julian, comes in the Senate, and this was the most shocking. Listener, if I didn't have on a tie, I feel I would have choked. Run it, Archie. And she did not care. And not only that, she obviously misled the Senate, because she stated that CXC does not allow resitting of exams for people who miss exams from flooding or natural disasters. But actually, you could put up one or two examples. Look at that, Caribbean Examination Council, several changes to its assessment for June 2021 examination cycle amid challenges being faced by students across the region, including COVID-19 and the explosive volcanic activity. Also in 2002 in Jamaica, they allowed resitting, free resits of exams for students. So either she didn't care, she didn't know, or she lied. Furthermore, rain is not a secret these days. You could just go on your Facebook and you see a thing, a radar image. Hey boy, look, rain coming, that looking bad, but ooh. You know, the PNM does not even understand that and know that they had exams and implement some sort of remedy, some sort of truck, some fire service, army, coast guard to ensure, take notes and they know how to know by data where the PNM vote is. They know where PNM is to cut the grass for CPEP, and if it's a UNC, leave it like bush. But they didn't know where the students were who had exams on that day. You telling me that you could not organize that and make sure the ODPM, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Fire could go, the corporation with big trucks, boats, to get children out of there to take their exams, but all you don't care, because it's not all your children. If all your child lost a phone, they go call SSA, ACIB, Commissioner of Police, helicopter, air guard, coast guard. They even call the fire service in case the phone blow up to find a minister phone, child phone. But other people, children, to take exams, all they have no idea, no concept, no plan, no implementation, no mitigating method, nothing. Education protocols. But what I love about the media, the PNM could be incompetent for 8 years, making the same mistakes for 8 years, proving that they are completely bereft of ideas for 8 years, showing that they lack planning and implementation for 8 years. But somehow the media is always fine. It's now time for them to get serious. You think it's joke I'm making? Let me read Express editorial, Wednesday, 14 June. Education protocols needed in a time of flood. Hardly had the 2023 rainy season been declared by the TNT Meteorological Service before the sky darkened and released precipitation that set off severe floods experienced on Sunday and Monday. Now that's just precipitation, just rain, but severe floods. We ain't get no tropical storm, no hurricane. Elder residents described the floods that affected communities in Murga, Barrackpore, Woodland and Penal as the worst they have ever seen. After 6 months of hot sun, dry, where I had time to fix up everything, first heavy rainfall on the PNM in 2023, elderly residents are saying is the worst they ever seen. Not the most rain they ever seen, not the worst hurricane they ever get in. The worst flooding, which means the most incompetent government in history. Not only Rohan Sinanan, but the Minister Puya Catman, who does wear tight clothes up in sports day, Minister Faris Al-Rawi a cat suit, right? That Minister Puya, total incompetent. It is the credit of the PDRC, private Barrackpore truck, that's a Penal Debe Regional Corporation, not Pine de Bal, Keith, Scotland. Truck owner Gutan Maharaj and truck driver Rajat Ram and some families were rescued from high waters and most children were transported to school. So, Mr. Sami, not this Minister Puya, this cat suit man was walking around in Toko with a tight pants and a tight vest. Not this fool, right? Alan Sami, chairman of the Penal Debe Corporation and other respondents who were able to implement and try to help and get people out. Right? It goes without being said, says the Express, that parents should not be forced to endanger the lives of their children in order to write exams that will secure their futures. What happened to these families should guide. So now, this ain't happened first time, you know. I mean, first time that is so early, so hard, and in the exam. But last year had terrible flooding, worse than the year before and the year before, and since 2016, 2017. But here the Express, this disaster should now guide PNM policy. So they get another chance from the Express. Yes, you all dotish. Yes, you all incompetent. 7 years straight, 8 years straight. But now, this disaster should guide you to be better. That's the Express position on the PNM. You have to change and put the decision that the PNM must go, that you are fed up. You can't be in such high position with such responsibility, having all the treasury at your mercy and be so incompetent, heartless. What happened to those families should guide the education ministry in establishing proper protocols to be triggered in times of natural and other events that affect the movement of children and their families. There is more rain to come. Let us not wait until the worst happens before those protocols are established, polished, and executed in a timely manner. So rain now start. This year was the first time it rained, first time it flood, Air Express. So you saying the PNM must now go and create protocols, create a plan, and hopefully implement it before the next emergency. When they've had over 7 emergencies when Rowley, rain coming south, Rowley gone to Tobago for Gulf. That's why this country is in a mess, because of dishonest media like the Express. PNM MP honored by US Congressman. What is this, boy? Prominent Port of Spain attorney Keith Scotland has been presented with a historic congressional proclamation by Democratic leader in the US House of Representatives, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Scotland has also received the Guyana Independence Celebration Committee of New York's Kiter Award of Distinction for his dedication to ensuring the preservation of the rule of law and the protection of the rights of citizens of Guyana as an attorney in TNT and the Caribbean. Well, Kitos boy, yes boy. If they want to give you silk hair because you're a black bencher, if the PNM don't want to make you attorney general because you're too black, if the PNM don't want to give you a ministerial portfolio because you're too black, if the PNM don't want to help your constituency because you're too black and you're a black bencher, you right, my brother. You go and get an award in New York, go Guyana. If you have to go Zimbabwe to get an award, you go Kitos. I tell you, boy, run from the PNM to get your award. TNT gives support to WHO's pandemic accord. WHO, Dr. Tedros hails TNT's COVID response. Yes, boy, Dr. Tedros. PM, Prime Minister then praises the WHO Director General for leading global COVID fight. Oh gosh, you quid pro quo, you quid pro quo. I rub you, you lick my bamsi, I lick back yours. Oh gosh, we so stupid. We was here and 4,680 people dead. People dead in the hospital. People dead 9 out of 10 in the ICU. The people dead at home. Every variant known to man coming to Trinidad and Tobago through porous borders. People dead without oxygen. No vaccination program. They try to force it down with throat. Some people could have wedding. Some people get charged. And yes, Dr. Tedros come and say, Rowley and Convent girl, yes man, you're great. And Rowley says, Tedros, my boy, you agree. Yeah, we real stupid. Archie, run it. I done one only about Tedros already, you know. Run it.
Let's hear what you said again, Doctor.
And I would also like to recognize that Trinidad and Tobago, your country, has done very well in this pandemic. And this is because of your leadership. Even without vaccines, using simple public health solutions, we can see from your own experience that this virus can be controlled. So thank you so much.
Please provide the world at large with the science that informed your comments. If none exists there, sir, I suggest you apologize, clarify, withdraw your public comment, and resign. Yes, resign. As you have brought the WHO into disrepute and have irrevocably damaged the reputation of the WHO as a science-based institution. So my dear sir, put his face up there for me if you have a picture of Dr. Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. If you have a picture, put it up. If not, it's all right. But there you are. Freeze that. Sir, please. We in Trinidad and Tobago, the population, we were shocked and astounded. We were confused and bewildered by your categorical comments. And we would love to see the scientific data, the analysis, the scientists, the researchers, the independent
analysis done on our COVID-19 response here in Trinidad and Tobago, because we have already suffered as a population due to false information being given to the population about being number one in COVID. This led to our population not taking it initially seriously, the social distancing and so on, the effectiveness, the hand sanitization, because we were being told that we have no COVID, that for 3 months there was no COVID. We only had 8 deaths. In that period, after that period, we now stand at 138 deaths that we know about. We do not know in this country. The central bank has just told us that during COVID, the last quarter of 2020, 1,700 people lost their jobs. So we are on the ground and we have analyzed. Over 70,000 people lost jobs in the last quarter of 2020 due to the pandemic. The central bank, we have no national statistics authority, so we would like to know where you got your statistics, doctor of the WHO. And if you cannot provide it, and you have made a public statement on behalf of the WHO, I call upon you to resign forthwith, because you're the head of a scientific organization that must make statements based on fact. It was highly irresponsible, and if you got caught up in the moment of speaking to a leader, a politician, a prime minister, and you got emotional and you moved away from science, you need to clarify that. If we are wrong and you have the data based from the WHO analysis and independent survey and statistics, we are willing, we are requesting, and we're desirable of receiving such. Other than that, sir, resign, because you have embarrassed yourself and your organization.
Tedros and the WHO licking Rowley Bamsi since 2021. Tedros, will you feel in Trinidad and Tobago we dotish? You feel Rowley and them? Rowley is like a batsman and a coach. The batsman he bat 5 times and make 5 duck live on TV with replays on Facebook, on Atlantic Studios and so on. And then he come to the selection committee and say, listen, I made 800 cumulative runs. I made 2 centuries, a double century in all my innings in the last 5 games. That is the PNM. You know they are 0. 0 for 0 by 0 to leave you with 0. And them come to say, we is hero, vote for we. Rowley, you've been unmasked as a total blatant idiot. And Tedros, take your brown tongue through the airport and go and drop it somewhere else and scrub it out with some Colgate. Drivers upset after bypass road quick fix. All you know what upset? We was upset when Rohan Sinanan went in front of a gravel truck for 14 million and tell all you 4 or 5 months ago, look, we fixed things for all you in Mayaro. In a WhatsApp message to protesting taxi drivers at the weekend, Minister of Works and Transport Rohan Sinanan advised them to drive slowly along the temporary Manzanilla bypass. Then trucks moved into the area, dumping loose gravel in the crater-like potholes, said taxi driver Julian Rampasad. But that didn't last long. Rampasad said, as heavy rainfall on Sunday washed away the material and flooded parts of the roadway. The road is very terrible. Sorry. But Rohan say, all you drive slow. Rohan, what you feel? They could drive fast? What they have? A hydrofoil? Sinanan and Sami feud over penal debe flooding, really, easy. Sami, the chairman of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation, said the problem is not with us. The problem is with the major water courses, which have not been properly cleaned. Didn't we tell you all that? We told you all here, even here in Marabella, that under the United National Congress, when they dredge the Vistabella River and so on, all the river mouths every dry season would be dredged with barges and so on. Rohan Sinanan has not done that in 7 years, going on 8 years. That's where the flooding is. They built no box drains. They've not managed the construction. They've not managed the water flow. They've not expended money to keep you safe from floods. End of story. They don't care. You have to vote them out. They hear them. Rohan then said, the ministry said, through the drainage division, it has been actively implementing its strategic drainage plan in preparation for the rainy season. I said a big word, which means they do one damn thing and all has to flood out. Penal residents clean up after oil spill and flooding. Street flooding in Trinidad, street flooding in South Trinidad. But hear it, heavy incessant overnight showers. So heavy incessant rain is now a natural disaster under the PNM. Actually run a compilation and show people what heavy incessant rain does to Trinidad and Tobago when you're governed by the PNM at all levels for 8 years. Watch this.
And children need to get to the schools to write their exams. So this is the mission we are on here. Oh, yeah. This is plenty water.
And the PNM hired NLCB propaganda machine, Rhoda Barrett. Says no photo op, flooding photo ops now, no political photo op, politics. Politics is a critical element in serving people. The PNM ignores the country that floods out, and this woman makes joke. Oh, it has screening for local government, so no photo op for flooding, photo op. When UNC members go out there, because Kamla Prasad said serve the people and that's your work, that is not no photo op. When they're working incessantly, cooking meals, taking Clorox and mop, moving in with boats to get food and water to people, that is not no joke, woman. You understand your PNM heartless nonsense? Rowley will take photo op in Hazy Crawford Stadium because they spend 80 million. He go take photo op because they pave one road by St. Fimbas. He go take photo op with people from BPTT and the big boys in the oil and gas industry. He will take photo op with Delcy Rodriguez. Yes, please. I agree with the people. Take it down because you throw me off too. I get confused. My goodness. That's harsh. And watch this. Photo up. Look at this farmer. Watch it. Look at this. This farmer lost everything. Not only the farmer, but Trinidad and Tobago lost all of those chickens. Because we are trying to, even under the worst circumstances of no agricultural policy, no implementation or care of anything in Trinidad and Tobago by the PNM for agriculture. This is what happens due to lack of care, planning, investment, implementation in flood mitigation, drain management, box drain, and river mouth clearing and dredging. Look at what happened to this farmer. Look at all that. And that also presents a danger of disease and so on with the disposal of those thousands of head of chicken just dead. Who is going to compensate that farmer when people get their VAT bonds, or they go give the farmer a bond to go and buy back chicken? That's what it is. Look at Mount Hope. Look at the hospital under Terrence Convent Girl Dial Singh. Why you didn't give your wife a contract to go and block up there and so ensure that citizens don't get wet down in the hospital now? People, that is a place for sick people, people who have fever, can't walk, they're on their deathbed, they're feeling bad. And look at the PNM, how they are at the hospital. That is what, let me tell you something. If any PNM could send to Archie Atlantic Studios a video of the PNM doing something good now. Really. Or cabinet note of a policy over the last 8 years that impacts the lives of people. Send it for me, I'll go put it up, all right? 8 years of PNM, flooding, neglect, and local government. But here what Rowley talking about, because he want to give you property tax. Now, back when Manning was bringing property tax, Rowley said they can't afford it, $100, it's terrible, people are suffering. The economic indicators, the macroeconomic indicators, and the microeconomic indicators, unemployment, inflation, everything in the economy right now, ease of doing business, balance of payments, US availability, everything now is 10 times worse than it was in 2009 when Keith Christopher Lyon Rowley said, people can't afford this property tax. But he coming to give you a property tax now. And here why? Run it.
All of those things ought to become the backbone of local government in an attempt to provide a better quality of life for the people who live within the boroughs or corporations. And you do that first and foremost by dealing with the money. If you're not in control of, or you don't have a revenue stream, and you don't have management that respects the income that they are required to manage, we'll get nowhere. But if you embark upon an exercise to reform what is there, put new fiscal arrangements in place, and I'm talking here as a property owner, and there are many property owners, and there are those who believe that to mention property tax means that you're going to lose an election. Well, let it be so. But I recall when the property tax amnesty had died in 2015, because the government announced then that the amnesty had ended. The following year, 2016, people were lining up by the revenue office to pay their tax. It is politicians who live comfortably on whatever is going on in the country and whatever they stashed away abroad. They are the ones telling people that property tax is a bad thing, and therefore they should oppose it. A small payment by a lot of people will provide the revenue pool to support property tax. And
listening no more to that inveterate liar. Understand what he is telling you, you know. He is telling you that the reform that he is going, vote PNM, because the reform requires a property tax so that local government could get a revenue stream in order to provide you with service, to do your drains, to maintain your recreation grounds, to spray down, to fix potholes, to fix roads and so on. So he is advocating a reform from himself. Because he is the prime minister, he is in charge of the cabinet, he allocates resources to local government. So if local government is not getting money to serve you, it is because the prime minister, him, the cabinet formed by him, the minister appointed by him, the minister of finance appointed by him and his cabinet are not giving resources. That fool stands up there and say, hey, vote for me, because in local government we have to reform the system because I suck. That is what the man just said, you know. I don't know if you all pay attention to this clown, you know. That is what he said. Because the current system we have is that the cabinet, the corporations will go and put in their wish list to the Ministry of Finance people during budget time, all in March, April. And the Ministry of Finance and the cabinet will determine what is the policy of allocation to the 14 corporations. And what Rowley is saying, is that I, as Prime Minister, decided to burn all the corporation, even Diego Martin, because by me and as a PNM one, I need money for recusals, I need money for Noel Garcia, I need money for projects that I want, I need money for Warner Construction, I need money for my people. So therefore, you, the people, wean yourself through your corporations, wean off of me. So now he says, for you, the people, to get service, the part of your taxes over here die for he. And now you must pay a new set of tax for you. That is what Keith Christopher Rowley just said there. Anyone who votes for him, you cannot like yourself, you cannot like your children. That's what that clown said there, you know. That blithering idiot, you know. As we say, blithering idiot. Imagine an attorney general, the worst attorney general in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, who in 14 months has lied on affidavit in a foreign jurisdiction, lost a $20 million case because he said the file was missing. The file was never missing, whether hard copy, soft copy. He paid $1 million to a lawyer, a former judge, to investigate himself about the missing file that didn't really go missing and did not really exist. And this man, who himself as a lawyer didn't put in a defense in a case and lost the case, this man who lied and say he was not a senior counsel, he's a note taker, when he made submissions in the case for a man and then switch across. This clown here went in the Senate and piloted a bill about arbitration, knowing full well that he was involved in some company in the past in 2019 as chairman, along with Senator Vera, the independent senator, who somehow, through the luck of the stars, got sick and missed the day, that day of the Senate, and they put somebody else in. And they come to pass a law that will benefit that company and others that they were a part of. While the law was being drafted up, they were putting in their 2 cents and 2 pence and stand to benefit to millions and millions of dollars. And Lymore did not disclose his interest in the Senate. And they say, great is the PNM, vote for these clowns. Don't take my word for it. Bring in Senator Wade Mark, the Honorable.
Could you indicate to this Honorable House whether, Senate rather, whether the ministry took any contingency measures to address these developments that have now occurred and continues, Mr. President, as we speak?
Minister in the Ministry of Education.
Through you, Mr. President, I am asking for, I will prepare that information and I'll submit it to Senator Mark in the very near future regarding the contingency that was in place. But Mr. President, the normal, during the rainy season, we normally have...
Well, that was the wrong clip. That was the one from before, from Lisa Morris, Julian, Miss Greenverb, when she was saying the normal procedure is you ain't getting no receipt. They could kind of extrapolate your mark from what you done do. But they ain't study the mitigating circumstances to help flooded out people, because the PNM say, wean yourself out the government. So if you're drowning, you better swim, because PNM ain't coming to help you. If you're hungry, you better go and dive in a dustbin and eat what is left there, because the PNM not coming to help you. If you want to play sport at a high level, train for yourself, dip your hand in your own pocket, because the PNM not coming to help you. If you need laptops and you want to educate your child and go to university with GATE, the PNM cut GATE from 726 million to 300 million. Them ain't coming to help you. If you want to drive on smooth road, drive slow on mud track, because the PNM not coming to help you. Archie, you find the one with Lymore now? You find it yet? But let me go while they look for it. Lymore then, when Wade Mark brings up a salient, pertinent point, that you as the Attorney General, you have an interest, you have a benefit. The Integrity in Public Life Act says you must not use your position to put forward or to encourage or enhance the benefits to yourself, your family, or any group or member of the public. So if you know that you had an interest in a certain area
that is due to benefit from the work that you are doing as an Attorney General, you must, one, disclose your interest and recuse yourself. Allow somebody else, like Sagram Singh Sukral, the one who want to pay PAL or pen, PAL or pay, PAL or lie down, PAL, whatever, spread, PAL, right? Jealous because nobody want to spread PAL with she. But anyway, that's what you must do. So, Wade Mark brought that up. But here the defense, here lie more the next day. Armour said, I want to go on record, he went in the Senate and said, to say I abhor the irresponsible and dangerous comments of Senator Mark today. Leave my wife out of it. Do not call my wife's name as a judge of the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago in this chamber. In your political guile, nobody study a wife, boy. It was you as chairman of the company, boy. And your boy and your brethren who get in brief and senior counsel, but still is an independent senator, even though the PNM give him silk and he's due to earn in the next 20 years upwards of 12 more million. Plus he sits on PNM boards. Independent Senator Vera, who was just miraculously absent. He goes, oh, get better, my brother. If you feel better, okay, take 2 Panadol, right? That one. But look at it. Put up the image of the company. You see, they're passing the law to activate the system of arbitration. There was a company, oh, they don't have it? All right. Vishnu, with a picture Limo as a chairman, Digital Solutions, and Vera. All right, well, all you go online and check it there. You could see it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. That Limo, Attorney General Reginald Armour was the chairman of that company that stands to benefit now from the passage of the arbitration bill that he brought and piloted in the Senate. And independent Senator Vera was also a member there. And there was a picture of them and so on in the newspaper. As we talk in conflict of interest, Gilbert Peterson, you see now the PSA complains of pillow talk between judge and husband. Gilbert Peterson, why are you so shameless and classless? Because you are an intelligent human being, I know that. And you must know what's right and wrong. You must know what's professional conduct, what's propriety. You must know. You must know that you are a PNM and you have been Rowley's friend for a long time. And you must know that you love your wife. And your wife who love you, and you all love Rowley and his family, and you all are PNM together, and you benefit from PNM briefs, and where your wife walks and talks in the house and the chandeliers and so on, some of it is paid for by PNM largesse and PNM connections, like bunkering contracts. And when you sit down and you lime and you knock glass with Rowley and so on, your wife is there because you love your wife. And when you're in Inez Gate, as a neighbor to Rowley, I'm sure when you go there with your beautiful wife, and Rowley is there, not with his wife, he probably with some Spanish, because the wife down in One Woodbrook. But you all still lime, friendly. So, sir, if a political case comes up, TTRA, don't you think it right and proper that your wife recuse herself? What's wrong with that? Is Anil being bad? Am I being vulgar and malicious? Or is it just right? Tell me now. Because your compass gone so far. Because your best friend is a miscreant named Keith Christopher Rowley. And his stain of his tutu suit is stuck all over your face. You embarrass yourself in the Paria Commission of Inquiry. Citizens died. And you look like the most callous, heartless fool because you defending your duncy, wicked, dotish friend called Keith Rowley. And now you bring your wife into this nonsense. As a man, how you feel? How you feel? Because now the PSA complaints of pillow talk, possible pillow talk between a husband and his wife has been raised as a complaint against the judge. The lady name never called him nothing before, Gilbert. Never. All she had to do was just say, no, only let somebody else handle that. My husband is Rowley's friend, he has benefit from that. I don't want no part of that. But somehow, she knows that she should have done that, but she didn't. Why? Did you tell her? Did Rowley tell her? Y'all bring the woman into this bacchanal, really, Gilbert? Somebody you love, you do them that? So now they have a big bacchanal and a couture over the lady. I mean, the position of the PSA seems to be righteous because it only makes sense. And when you study the case law and apparent bias and so on, it's quite obvious and quite self-explanatory. But Balisé Juice does turn intelligent fellas into evil, wicked, heartless dum-dums. Gilbert, shame on you with your whole self. Look, they find the thing, yes, boy, I know my Vishnu and Archie, but dispute resolution can help ease doing business in TNT. Look at it, dialogue. Director, immersion. No, I read anything. Wait, go back, right. Founder, Elizabeth Solomon. I now realize that is Lima wife. Elizabeth Solomon, I went to primary school, which is one brilliant, intelligent, amazing woman. Lady, how you end up with that? Well, anyway, alongside from left, Dialogue Solutions Limited Chairman, Reginald Armour SC. Let me read that again. Nobody interested in your wife, boss man. We interested in you. You are the Attorney General. You did not disclose that you had an interest in this company at one time, and you bring in arbitration now that this company will benefit among other companies too. From left, Dialogue Solutions Limited Chairman, Reginald Armour SC. Directors, Dennis Gurley SC, Leslie Clark, and independent Senator Anthony Vera at the company's launch. And they find that's correct. You're in a cabinet, you're the Attorney General, you own a building, you take taxpayers' money, $38 million, and you outfit it. But you step outside and you sip a coffee while your brethren them approve it. You then go step outside for a cup of tea and they approve 23.6 million over a 3-year period, which is 47.2 million over the 6 years thus far, heading to another 23.6 by next year. For you, the sitting Attorney General, and the PNM has the audacity to say other people thief. TNT narrowly escapes downgrade to tier 3 in human trafficking. You know. This is under Rowley and Small Pin. And they like to talk. Trinidad and Tobago could have expected to be downgraded from Tier 2 watch list on the U.S. Traffic in Persons Report 2023 to Tier 3, but escaped because of a one-time waiver. So they say, listen, we give you a little blight. All you ain't do nothing. All you suck. All you're terrible. All you have people at risk. This is the worst we have ever seen. You should be Tier 3, but we're giving you a little chance to see if you're going to do something. Probably like the Express. But you know they will do nothing. You want to know why they'll do nothing? Archie, where Rowley just go and eat food and sit down on couch and rub up man's leg. This is why the PNM will do nothing about human trafficking. This is Keith Christopher Rowley, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. You know who he's loving up there with? Touching his leg and holding his hand, sitting down on an ugly Coskel couch that only a whole house owner will buy and say it look good? That is Boudit. One of the biggest whole house owner in the Trinidad and Tobago. And that is Rowley. But he come in a press conference, I never went in no whole house. No, you went in the whole house owner house. And Rowley, you vulgar. That's why they will do nothing. That's why we go into Tier 3. That's why women are at risk. That's why down in Coast Guard, heliport need investigation. That's why we in a total mess. Because y'all hired an evil, nasty Obia man. Blank political race baiting says, I love to read letters. She's right, Penty. And Denise Deming of Diego Martin. Blank political race. I am surprised Keith Christopher Rowley continues his obsolete, disingenuous strategy of racial accusations to move our thinking away from the significant national issues. I hoped he was more strategic than that. What, how you still hoping about that? You ain't know Keith Rowley since 1986. You don't know Keith Rowley. You was in the PNM government with Keith Rowley in 2015 into 16 into 17 before you resigned and did not tell the population why you resigned. But you want to pontificate. While I agree with your points here, you need to say why you resigned. The country is in the highest level of corruption in history. A web of corruption, interlocking directorships, no procurement legislation. Now mamagayin after they got it. Legalized thieving. You resigned from a board and didn't say why.
But you're coming to tell me? But anyway, she talking about race now. And she thought, I hoped he was more strategic than that Rowley. Like Rowley have any other card to play than pretend that all of a sudden he come out the golf course, he come out the pinks and skin up his face to become a black soldier. A man for the black man. Yes, man, Rowley. Yes, brother. Stand up for the black man, Rowley. Yes. It is redundant for our PM to engage in this race discussion, especially since the mixed race population in Trinidad is possibly the highest growing segment of our populace. Yeah, but you don't understand politics. Rowley controls the EBC. The EBC is appointing returning officers in the same marginal seats. They're changing boundaries and shifting boundaries, moving boundaries in order to solidify the position of the PNM. Narcissus Scope is the niece of former Minister Maxi Coffey. Narcissus Scope, the head of the EBC, is the best friend of Nyan Gadsby Dolly. What say you on that, Denise Deming? Do you find that's correct? Is that good? You're a sportswoman, you run marathons and so on. Is it fair that someone who is intimately connected to one side, in a two-party system, I know you join Hope, but Hope, there's no hope in dope, all right? So don't worry with that. In a two-party system, that the referee who's in charge of the rules, the implementation and control of the election has an affinity for one side. Is that right, Denise Deming? So while you're talking that, so don't tell me about, yes, it are plenty mixed people and Rowley don't need to play the race card. Rowley needs to play the race card and stop mixed people and intelligent people from voting. Because once the voter turnout is low, then cheating and gerrymandering can work. The voter turnout going out high, like in Tobago, above 64%, it shatters the cheating. Gerrymandering in Trinidad only works when the races are divided, the EBC gerrymanders and cheats. But if people get vexed, if people take the time to understand, if people unite and vote in their numbers, so for example, normal turnout in local government elections, 31 to 34%. If people decide that 40, 42, 50% to come out and vote, the PNM will be obliterated. So citizens, I ask you, I beseech you, take your vote seriously. Get out there and vote. Don't take no talk about the local government and so on. Local government into general election, if you lift the voter turnout, the PNM's cheating will not work. That's why they got 14-1 in Tobago. Because in January in Tobago it was 6-6. Rowley tried to cheat and instructed the EBC where to put 3 seats. Remember that? And the EBC, because it's PNM, it's Narcissus Scope, it's Maxi Coffey's niece, and it is St. Augustine Girls High School buddies of Nyan Gadsby Dolly, they did exactly what the executive told them to do. And they put the 3 seats. Do you know the 1 seat to stand up in Tobago over a tidal wave of PDP was one of the new seats gerrymandered by the EBC? One of them, they gerrymandered so strong it stand up against a tidal wave. So, Madam Denise Deming, Rowley wants to play the race card because that's the only card he has. And it's a kind of loose card because everybody know Rowley, whiter than that whiteboard in the back here at Atlantic Studios. But if he plays the race card and people say, elections don't matter, local government don't matter, don't worry, all UNC, PNM, same thing. And low voter turnout, then Rowley wins because his base goes, the PNM cult has created their base that no matter what you do them, you could kick them, they say, please kick me with the left foot. You could slap them, oh gosh, I go take a cough now. You could do them what they want. That's since Dr. Williams. That is the cult. The black benchers get nothing. They go home by the wife and say, oh God, why they treated me bad, but only thing for small pin and Imbert and Rohan and look, they bring Sukai now and they go back and say, great is the PNM, let's call a meeting. That's how it works. But you know how you beat the cheating of the PNM? You, the people, decide to come out and vote. And tomorrow night, come out in St. Joseph, Arango is North Secondary, come out. So Denise Deming says, our society is culturally diverse. Our ethnicity has been shaped by colonization, immigration, and intermarriage.
scratch any of us deep enough and up will pop another race. I wonder why Ms. Prasad Bisesa and Dr. Rowley choose not to engage in these conversations with a solutions-focused approach. Now, Denise, you overdo they? You're dishonest? Lady, you are dishonest? Every Monday night for the last 3 years, even during the election in 2020, the UNC manifesto was out for discussion and posted up 3-4 months before the election. It was there with each policy every night now, and every night for the last 24 months, Kamala Prasad Bisesa makes an average of 45 minutes to an hour and 15-minute speech, of which 30 to 45 minutes are solutions, plans, and programs for national security, education, diversification, job creation, implementation, flood mitigation. And you come and write that Kamala don't want to get involved in those things. You're a dishonest woman. Denise Deming, withdraw and apologize. Go and check, don't take my word for it. That is a blatant lie. Rowley don't want to talk that because Rowley can't talk nothing. What Rowley go say? Oh Lord, I local government I put tight pants there with the Catwoman suit and everywhere flood. No money for corporations. Roads bad. Bridges crumbling. Wassa, I put a dunce there who know nothing about water and nobody have water. What Rowley could say? Nothing, because he has performed nothing. So don't lump Kamala in that. You are disingenuous and dishonest. Kamala gives you policies across the board. Sporting, culture, education, anything, job creation, ease of doing business, forex, petrotrain, energy sector, policies, programs that she will implement. I don't know why y'all people are so dishonest, you know. Power plays. Sunday Express editorial. As the dust kicked up until Friday, the PNM's mantra of win alone, lose alone, this for elections, they're talking about power plays, had seemed plausible. However, the extraordinarily high-profile embrace of former UNC Senator Tahaka Obika by PNM political leader Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley hints otherwise, especially given Obika's relative lightweight as a one-time unelected MP. Exactly, a lightweight, unelected, and a man who was in the office of the opposition leader at 8 a.m. and put on a red tie 2 p.m. and the PNM say, great is the PNM, bring him in, that's a big coup. Let me even the Express know that you're talking nonsense. Let me read it again, I know my words, you know. Until Friday, the PNM's mantra of win alone, lose alone had seemed plausible. However, the extraordinarily high-profile embrace of former UNC Senator Tahaka Obika by PNM political leader Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley hints otherwise, especially given Obika's relative lightweight as a one-time unelected MP. Hey, lightweight, go your way now, whatever they give you. Watch your face. Whatever you give you, take it and keep it and cool yourself. But don't come and tell me Rowley is a good father. You wanted to say great as the PNM all the time. But PNM is great governance structure. If they have such good structure, how you reach there? What happened to all the other PNM who were in the PNM for years, for decades, working hard, toiling in the vineyard, working on the wine press, walking and going? If they have such structure, how the hell you jump in at the top? How Sukai jump in the Senate? How Gidari just reach? One day he cussed PNM and say UNC is the only, and the next day he is a candidate for the PNM. That is great. Hey man, that's great structure. That's merit-based. That's what we're talking about. You know, if you work hard, you build up some sort of profile and you move up in the PNM, isn't it? I thought Rowley and them say UNC, everybody is unpatriotic, UNC ain't good, but anything shake off the UNC, Rowley going, come boy, come UNC, come quick, sit down by me now, sit in my office, come now man. And Rowley, you have been unmasked, the people sick of you, this election, you're gone, general election, the whole PNM gone till it's shattered. Run it, Archie.
On Tuesday, we were made to listen to the least energetic PNM meeting in the history of PNM meetings under Keith Rowley. They tried to sell themselves the lie that everything is going good. They tried to sell themselves the lie that the economy is going smoothly. When MP Rodney Charles raised that in the parliament that Guyana, Barbados, is doing better than we by miles. Instead of the Prime Minister acknowledging that he has work to do, he is saying, well, get the hell out of here. Go to Barbados. Go to Guyana. We don't want you here. Well, we want Keith Rowley out of government. That is what we want. So whenever Keith Rowley decides to call the next big election, we will follow the lead of our brothers and sisters in Tobago and give him a political timeout. Exactly.
Just run on next one, man. You have a next one? Run on next one.
Now in this country, under Keith Rowley is a just so country. It's a just so government because everything rising just so. The price of flour tomorrow morning going and rise by 33%. How? Just so. Because this Minister of Finance, fine, that everything else could go up. How? Just so. The price of food going up. Just so. The price of gas going up. Just so. So tomorrow in your Rokunka Chunkung under Keith Rowley PNM, the price of flour, which will affect the price of bread, doubles, bacon shack, roti, fried chicken from KFC and Royal Castle, because that and all does use flour. Flour is as integral to our diet as water. And this government, if Kamala Prasad Bisesa of Senior Council was the Prime Minister, she would have instituted a flour subsidy. Because she knew the 7,000 basic food items that she removed VAT on would not be enough to save the hundreds of thousands of families from this rise in the price of flour. But just so, Trini, under PNM, go take it tomorrow, because this is a just so country.
And just so you put on a red tie, and just so you sit down between Foster that the ACIB looking for and Duncy had 500,000 scholarship who didn't graduate PNM. And just so you reach up in Rowley office, and just so Fitzgerald at Talbot whining behind your back, and just so you tell we celebrate Rowley as Happy Father's Day. Just so Obika, give me a flipping chance now. Just so. And vulgarity, Rowley said, the vulgarity of Anil Roberts. Let me tell you something, I keep Christopher Rowley. Anil is only vulgar when describing your reality. So if you see vulgarity, it's because it's your reality. Archie, show them Rowley's vulgarity.
Before we start, this is for Dr. Keith Rowley and the youthful and impeccable structure we call it. I celebrated the PNM celebration now. So I just give my love it. Just give my love you, boy. If you're not here, you might just be my wife. And Rowley, you doing it. I'm not going to listen to you, Rowley. Yeah. I love what you like. Home grown boy. And today I come out to celebrate the signing of the PNM candidates and our PNM people. What do you come by this? Study by what? What's key? What does it? All this when they are okay, right? But now who do you want to win? Celebrate it. Ready to PNM. Ready to PNM.
Rowley, that's your friend Nazim Bash, AV Oil, that you, Rowley, all of a sudden, Solomon McKinsley, McClatchy report said don't shut down Petrotrin. The chairman and the board said don't shut it down. Winfred Espinay said under oath don't shut it down. Rowley, you shut it down. And then when Deborah Peake say appeal the arbitration, you put your own personal lawyer, AA, come in to take care about your personal friend. Look, your personal friend. And then all of a sudden he get 118 million and a 10-year contract. And now it look like he get a blocker all too. That's not vulgar, boy, Rowley. You're talking vulgarity. What about this village ram? Who vulgar? Run it.
Managers who has shown me that if we don't move hard now,
Get down. Boom. Run.
good morning, Natalie. I surprised to see you here.
You're so, why are you so surprised?
Ram Singh Sharma, the village ram from Sawa. He have a wife and he day with the sister. Ram.
Prime Minister, I'd like to take the conversation to a more social round, the social climate. You look on social media.
It's Christmas time, we should have some drinks then.
Well, perhaps of the non-alcoholic flavor.
How many of you went by home by Rowley and came to a flight of stairs, walked down a few and see 3 dogs, walk down further past a parrot, walk into the office down in the dungeon and see a big red couch and lie down there? And Rowley, you talking about vulgar? It's vulgar to take a minister's wife down in your stabbing cabin and gishy thing and then go and say, Cabinet, colleagues, how are you? Rowley, what you did with Darrell Smith's wife? Asking you. But Anil vulgar? Anil don't go with the partner them wife. Rowley, you vulgar vulganarian. Let me find out also. Rowley, you're a misogynist, you're disgusting. How you talk to people? Let's see more vulgarity from Keith Christopher, nasty man, vulture of vulgar Rowley. Run it, Archie.
And they want to know why we have not diversified the economy. Just drink your rum and get on my face. I choose my word very carefully. You could behave as an effective opposition leader. I think the country is better for that. But geometry is not really the way to deal with these things.
Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC go and put that bill where the monkey put the nuts.
You see these boots I'm wearing? We, the farmers of Tobago and Texas, we call them shit kickers, right? And I'm hoping that I met Dr. Munilal today, but I haven't met him so far.
Take it in your pooch.
And I go, of course, like a woman. You got a groomer every day. Or a pooch east. Want to talk about party elites and meet him outside on the pavement.
Bring him, bring her, his licks in your waist, licks in your face, and licks all over your paper place.
And then that, you call on the Prime Minister to do something about crime. I'm not in your bedroom, I'm not in your choice of men. That is tantamount to hugging up a porcupine to go to bed. Because I will tell you, like she loved you, like she loved no other man. Well, I can tell you all something. Every month I get my salary. I work very hard for it. I am in no position to take $1. I want every cent I work for and I want it on time. The last time I was put out of anywhere for anything, the person who put me out regretted it. Sucking from the nipple of the Prime Minister, figuratively. Figuratively. To rape us with an umbrella, and worse, to open the umbrella. And she could jump high, she could jump low. She could drink this, she could drink that. She could back in the dog, we could ignore she chat. And you will see government ministers who came into office looking like Miss Howard Chat.
Prime Minister, I'd like to take the conversation to a more social round, the social climate. You look on social media.
It's Christmas time, we should have some drinks then.
Well, perhaps
Yes, in a nationally televised interview. The sick, thirsty man can't control himself. Look at his face. You feel to go and bathe. He's so nasty and vulgar. What about your vulgar lies, Rowley? Come in, you liar. Run it.
Big lies that he has been caught with. Keith Christopher lying, Rowley. Email gate, you shameless liar. Delcy and PDVSA as Astrobal Chavez. I didn't know who it was as Astrobal Chavez. Fake oil, Petrotrain, like my friend. I call him and say, but how things everything all right? Petrotrain open, Rowley? You shameless liar. Beatam wastewater plant. Rowley now saying he went and do an interview with Natalie Lagore and say, well, it wasn't 50,000 people. It's UNC lie and say that it's 50,000 people went to Tobago. It was really 25,000 people that went both ways. You calling people liar, Rowley? Bridgman's cabinet approval. HDC Chinese contract. Renaissance Shorelands. Rowley was the Minister of Integrated Planning and Development back in 2003. Let me don't talk about land date. There was a whole file on it reached by the DPP, you know, but they forget to tell he. But gravel roll from by hospital to somewhere by he. Sheep farm, the man built a sheep farm and did not get the certificate of environmental clearance or the EIA. It's on the record there. You shameless liar.
This world is a place now in 2019 going forward where people are making a career of not speaking the truth, and every item of information has to be checked and double checked.
The government is not closing down Petrotrain. I'm now discovering some person called Astrobal Chavez, who I'm now discovering as part of the commission.
Rowley, you vulgar liar. Talking about vulgar liar. Guardian newspaper, Asha Javid hired by Norman Sabga III. You hire Asha Javid, the PNM lady who making children all over the place of PNM and horning PNM daddies with PNM small pit. And now you see an editorial. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine came with evidence of the most corrupt acts we have seen in the longest while, with evidence, with audit, with picture showing PNM thieving. Showing also that Rowley's good friend, his son, threatening man and thing with text message to make payment, and that the PNM, two senior ministers instructing the chief secretary of who and how much to pay. Critical matters brought by a chief secretary. A chief secretary talk about extortion, blackmail, threats of kidnapping and so on. And what Asha Javid and this man Sabga III, what their newspaper put in the editorial? Oh, Farley hiding about some audio tape. You all know about Rhoda Barrett. You all know about PNM bloggers. That is a normal PNM thing. I never hear all you talk about that or write any editorial. What about the PNM Balize house that is going up into the sky, where Rowley admits that donations are being made and where evidence is shown in pictures, videos, and I am an eyewitness to Kusal, Calco, Earth Movers, and Junior Sammy, all at different times, dropping materials, concrete, steel, and so on. How is that all of those companies are in receipt of contracts from the government? So if you're in receipt of contracts from the government and you're donating to the PNM political party that forms the government, that is corruption, that is criminal, that is bid rigging, that is bribery, that is kickback, that is corruption, that requires investigation. You all come now to talk about audit tape, about Farley say somebody who get a job and then while they're doing their job, when they finish their job, they could talk up good on the party. But the PNM pay 180,000 in this man newspaper to say empower is good stuff. What are you all talking about? And this is where the Guardian is. So you leave out blackmail, extortion, corruption, thieving, all kind of thing, paying for road that don't exist. and come to tell me about a flipping audio tape that a man say, well, people go get work, and if they get work, big up the party. That's what you're talking about is so critical. But all you don't care that an Attorney General Limo come and bring a bill into the Senate. But he, in 2019, was the chairman of a company that going to benefit from it. All you don't care that an independent senator in the Parliament, the PNM give him silk, and he's still an independent senator. All you didn't care that a PNM woman sit down there as the president of the Senate, thwarting opposition, and get promoted to president's house when you're supposed to highlight independence for the service commissions and so on. All you don't care about that. All you care about audio tape. Here the Guardian again. This one, that one when I tell you, when you see me, boss, have nothing to tell me. You go and run your business. God bless you. Fading expectations. When Farley Augustine and his team were elected to the House of Assembly, there was genuine hope that the team, despite their relative inexperience, would do a good job and bring a new ethos to the political environment in Tobago, and by extension to Trinidad. Experienced commentators understood that a breakup with Watson Duke was inevitable. The breakup came and went with relatively little fallout, and the team survived relatively well. No leave up there, man, you know. Why did the Chief Secretary address the matter as soon as the tape was leaked? Why did he wait, which allowed doubt to foster and allegations of impropriety to deepen? This, another Asha Javid, she's really hit the ground running for the PNM editorial of this man's newspaper. Really? So the Chief Secretary took long to respond to something about an audio tape. What about Rowley and the President not responding about the intervention that caused the collapse of the Police Service Commission when Rowley went on August 12, 2021 to the President's house when the merit list arrived and whispered in the President's ears, and the President instructed Bliss Sipasad to breach her duty and to misbehave in public office and withdraw a list that she was not authorized so to do. I didn't see no scathing editorial like this. But you're trying to break down Tobago now, so who could reach back? You're balanced, sir? You're balanced? You? Really? You're impartial? Boy, give me a flipping shot. Boy, move in. Rowley defends himself. Now, Rowley told y'all that he and Alan Warner is partners, his business partners, he's a friend, and so on. When we were talking, and Saddam Hussein had said that Rowley didn't fill out his Form B, and he did not. He bring his Form A and show it with 6 different type of handwriting. And on the Form A of his Integrity in Public Life Act, Rowley had said the value, he paid 1.2 million for the house in Inez Gate to Alan Warner, his friend, Warner Construction, and that the value he also put at 1.2 million, which was not true, because the value was 1.68 million, because Rowley himself had paid 33,600 in stamp duty, and therefore there was a benefit from a contractor who had been the recipient of government contracts. There was a gift or a benefit of 468,000 in the Inez Gate property that Rowley purchased from Alan Warner of Warner Construction, and Rowley did not declare that benefit of 468,000. That is a breach of the law. That is a criminal offense. You telling me Integrity Commission you want to go and investigate an audio tape? What is the criminal offense? What it was? What's the offense? What's the breach? What's the law? Rowley broke the law over a year and a half ago, a year and 8 months ago, and all you went to investigate that? But hear this now. In the Guardian newspaper, page 5, PM defended himself in 2021. Dr. Rowley responded in the Parliament. Every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago know Alan Warner is my friend. Rowley then answered, but I am not aware that Alan Warner is involved in this project at Crown Point. Right? In 2021, Dr. Rowley was wrongly accused by Saddam Hussein of not declaring a 1.2. Really? Guardian? Rowley was wrongly accused? Listen, if you want to lie, try to do it on your own time. But you see, you hire Asha Javid, who has a judgment, scathing judgment against her as being a dishonest liar. And now all of a sudden your newspaper is being caught lying. Rowley did not declare it on the Form B. It is to be declared on the Form B. Lack of declaration on the Form B does not mean that that Saddam Hussein accused him wrongfully. Furthermore, they continued, the property was built by Ines Investment, whose principal is Warner. Dr. Rowley had said, date of acquisition, February 22nd, 2019. Original cost, 1.2 million. Estimated value at December 2019, 1.2 million. That is a lie. They were never valued at 1.2 million. Other people like Gilbert Peterson paid 1.81 million. People like the Speaker of the House and Newman George paid 1.78. The neighbor, the central bank governor in Inesgate, also paid 1.78 or 1.81 for his. Also the Ingrid Lashley, who on 9 PNM board bought that property there. All them PNM in one little nest paid 1.8. Rowley, the Prime Minister, paid 1.2 and told you that he negotiated. A Prime Minister is not to negotiate because of the very nature of the position. Negotiation by a Prime Minister to receive benefit is a crime. It's a breach of the Integrity in Public Life Act. And Rowley did not declare the benefit of $468,000, another breach of the Integrity in Public Life Act. Where the flipping police? All you tell me, all the police going to investigate an audio tape? Police, you're embarrassing yourself. You're an embarrassment to the service. You are damaging the service. You are turning the service into a Balize House Brigade. Actually run the video just to remind them that Rowley is so arrogant. First he friend Nazim, watch Nazim Rowley. Look your boy Rowley, I love you like hog love mud. Stuarty, hey, if it wasn't a man, I would have made him a wife. Oh Lord, where the oil? Yes, vulgar. Run it. Who's your friend Rowley? So police, you have a lot to investigate there. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, don't study the media, don't study Adsha Javid and the Guardian. Understand that Rowley is running the most corrupt web of corruption across interlocking directorships in Trinidad and Tobago, and the police now being controlled. And earlier you have nothing to say, you're sipping tea because Rowley and his cabinet approved your 1 year increase in salary for the next 12 months and perks and so on. That's where we reach in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, the only way to stop that is you to vote. You have to stop it. Don't believe their hype. Don't believe their playbook. Don't believe their strategy that elections don't matter. Local government is not important. General election don't matter because PNM and UNC is the same. Nonsense. If you're voting for sport, it's me versus Shamfa. They're the same. All you don't make me cuss on douglAR politics. So tomorrow night I want to see new people. Over 500, 600 people on this Facebook. All you like politics, all you love politics, you like information. Come on down tomorrow. I don't care if it's holiday, happy Labor Day, God bless all you. But the work to save our country continues. Come and hear the speeches. Come and hear the information. Come and mingle. Come and see the power of the UNC. Come and unite. And let us go. Arangwes North Secondary School. Tomorrow night, be there 6:30. We start on time. 7 p.m. Good night.